Welcome to part 2 of Is It Slow by the Numbers. If you joined us from part 1, thanks for showing up. I'm just going to dive in just a second. If you made it here somehow without watching part 1, you can watch it. I'll link it below. Okay, this part involves some math. So I'm also going to include some visuals, some graphics, and some information to help. And it's going to require a little bit of research on your part. So pause whenever you need to, when you got to go do some homework, and then just press play again when you're ready. We're going to start by gathering some data so we can effectively answer the question, is it slow? That's only half the question, however. So instead, we're going to ask the more relevant question, is it slow for me? First, we're only considering theatrical auditions, film and TV. No print, no commercials, no industrials, nothing else. And we're going to consider union and non-union. It doesn't matter. Second, we're going to want to get as much time as possible to get the best sample size. So, hopefully you've been acting for at least 5 years. If not, it's going to be harder for you, but you can still participate and do this. Your averages are just going to be from a smaller sample size. So for those of you who've been doing this for a little while, what you're going to want to do is take your total number of auditions, remember, film and TV, for 2019. Write that down. Same for 2021, and the same for 2022. Write those 3 numbers down. We're going to skip 2020 because it was COVID year, and we're going to skip 2023 because it was the strike year. And we're skipping 2024 because things hadn't fully rebounded yet. Now, if you haven't been acting for as long as you need to include 2024, fine. That'll skew the numbers a little bit, but you can go ahead and do that. Third, add up the 3 years total. Get a total number. Fourth, take that total and divide it by 3. So for example, if you had 83, 80, 49, that makes 212. Divide that by 3, that makes 71. With me? 71 is your average annual audition count. Okay, we're going to start going from that number, that 3-year average. We know there's a global contraction of 40% around the world. The industry has slowed down by 40%. So you take whatever your 3-year average is and you multiply it by 0.6. 0.6 gets you a 40% reduction, the global slowdown. So if you take 71, if that's the average, and you multiply that by 0.6, you would get an average, or a new number of 43. Okay, 43. That is a full year average accounting for the global slowdown, but you can also figure out what your year-to-date average should be simply multiplying that previous number by the fraction x over 365. I know I lost you. Hold on. X is the day of the year that it is. So for example, May 1st is the 121st day of the year in 2025. You take 43 and you multiply that by 121 divided by 365. So 121 divided by 365 multiplied by 43, you get a total of 14.25. So let's review that. If you have more than 14 auditions so far this year, based on the numbers that I used, it is not slow for you, even when you account for the global slowdown. So if you've got 15, 20, 25 auditions, you're killing it. If you've got 12 or 13, you're basically even. If you've got less than 10, then yeah, it's a little bit slower for you. In summary, after doing all this and checking your math with a number 2 pencil, where did you end up? Are you much slower than you thought, even with the math? Are you kind of actually where you should be? Or are you in a better position than you anticipated, but you've been buying into the doom and gloom and the noise of everything that says the industry is dying and it's slow and no one is working, which we know isn't true. It's something to think about, where you get your information, how relevant or accurate that information is in general, and how applicable it is to you based on your journey currently as an actor. So, how'd you end up? Busier? Slower? About even? Does any of this make sense? What other questions do you have? Let me know.